D&D Davison, liveweatherblogs.com, overnight edition here tonight. What a day in severe weather up in northwestern Pennsylvania and parts of Pennsylvania. Has some nasty storms break out. 4 reported tornadoes in the state of Pennsylvania slash New York. It was a busy day. Rob Guarino was actually traveling today and said he ran into a pretty big storm coming up through Pennsylvania. So he made a report that he went through a pretty big storm in Pennsylvania this evening. That was from meteorologist Rob Guarino. Talking to him earlier, but you can see there is 4 reported tornadoes and a lot of wind and reports also. As you can see right in that general area, western Pennsylvania, northwestern Pennsylvania really, tornado occurred in a few places. There's a few towns that they are saying that tornado probably did occur. Is Chiquita, New York. Emergency manager reported the tornado on the ground. So there was an actual tornado there, large trees and roofs on the main street. Semi truck tipped over. Potter, Pennsylvania, and Tioga, Pennsylvania, both. All 4 of those locations reporting tornadoes this evening, and it had been a very interesting situation. But we were discussing last night how that jet stream was coming across the area, and how that was probably that low was going to probably kick off some rotating thunderstorms in this general area. We discussed that last night on the liveweatherblogs.com overnight edition, and it did happen today. We had a tornado watch out earlier, but that has been allowed to expire. So pretty busy day up in northwestern parts of and northern parts of Pennsylvania and southern New York. And guess what? Today's going to be a very interesting day also. We have New York City, Philadelphia, Delaware, Washington and Baltimore, Roanoke, Richmond, Norfolk, Louisville, Cincinnati, just south of Pittsburgh, Harrisburg, uh, south of Albany. These areas are going to be an area where we're going to have the severe weather threat ramping up tomorrow with disturbance moving through, and once again it's going to be primarily hail, high winds, and tornadoes, and a lot of the information that we're getting now, Pennsylvania into Virginia, this general area, this part of the slight risk, is going to be the highest area, the highest slight part of the slight risk area to be dealing with bow echoes tomorrow, micro downburst type of storms, and ones with long-lived downdrafts, and also we have to this area I have in the red here is also a very has a higher probability of tornadic development, and the reason we have that is the undirectional shear that'll be in this location. We're gonna have a lot of shear going on in this location as the disturbance passes south, and we have a low-level jet kick in. Um, we could get some good rotation in some of these storms, and it won't help that the mountains, the Blue Ridge Mountain chain in the state of Virginia, um, does sometimes create its own shear environment. So we're going to have to be very careful here in the Roanoke Valley. We're going to have to be careful in the Delaware Valley and parts of Pennsylvania. But the most logistical threat for tornadic development will be southeastern Pennsylvania, parts of southern New Jersey, and Virginia, down through the Roanoke Valley. That's your highest area threat for tornadic development tomorrow. I mean, I should say later today, tomorrow, as in Sunday. As you see on the radar here out of State College, we have an area out here near Pittsburgh. Might be some isolated severe weather for the rest of this evening. Altoona, State College, Lock Haven, and there's another line and area that north of Lancaster and west of Allentown that has some heavy rain. But most of the severe thunderstorms this evening in that area have has a diminished threat. But this will also cross the outflow boundary and the area for development tomorrow. And we got to be very careful when these die down. We should be back in the will make set the stage for more severe weather tomorrow, and Westminster, Cumberland, Harrisburg, York, Lancaster, Philadelphia, Atlantic City, Baltimore, Washington, down also into the Roanoke Valley. Um, like I said, when you get into these mountains back here, we get a lot of source. We get source sometimes of lift, not only from the orographic sense. We also get some shear levels going on with the rotating possibilities and thunderstorms, especially east of the Blue Ridge Mountains. The Blue Ridge Mountains are east of where you see Roanoke. I'll roll over where the Blue Ridge Mountain chain is. This goes down to North Carolina also, but this area is called the Blue Ridge Mountains. Anywhere to the east of Roanoke is in the Blue Ridge Mountains. So Lynchburg's in the Blue Ridge Mountains chain. These areas, Charlottesville, Lynchburg, Farmville, Bedford County, Stewartsville. I did a paper on that, and we can go into that in a later date. How many more tornadic storms there's been in Bedford County, which is this county here, versus Roanoke. And I'll go into a live weatherblogs.com special on that at a later date to explain and show some information on why that is. But this whole area will be the area that we have to watch the most for the threat of tornadic development tomorrow. Like I was saying earlier, bow echoes will be the primary threat. Up in front of those bow echoes, you can get that rotating thunderstorm with a low moving into the area disturbance. Now I'm going to take a look at the short range forecast. We're at 6 hours out here. You see what was Bonnie. Pitiful. Um, it was sheared too much apart by the upper level low that was sitting out here. It's really sheared off Bonnie, and it did not allow it to re-intensify like it was supposed to. And even the Hurricane Center wasn't able to pick up on that when their forecast last night, even when the storm started looking like it was going to re-intensify. But that is what happens in weather forecasting sometimes. Moving to 12 hours, 12 Zulu, you see you get a disturbance here, riding along near Bonnie. We're also going to have the cold front marching in, and this disturbance sitting in the eastern part of the New Jersey, North Carolina. Now, what this eastern part of this trough may do, will line up something called a sea breeze front right along the coast, or at least line up an area that the winds are shifting east, which that will have a play into this cold front moving into the Roanoke Valley. With that there, we get those easterly winds kicking southeasterly flow coming out of here, or even a northeasterly flow. And then we had a generalized west to east movement of this front. You get an area that's highly unstable, and an area that may cause rotation. As you see, this will move in about 18 hours, puts it about tomorrow afternoon. You can see how this move progresses eastward. This front's coming in. This is gonna set that area that I colored in red into the most unstable part and most probable severe weather. And you see the front will move through for Monday, cool us down, and it'll continue moving to the south, pushing to the south, letting this high pressure move in and cool us down a little bit and dry us out. I think this little disturbance kicks through on Tuesday. Nothing big with that. So as you see how this progresses, you can see that the trough will progress back westward, which is going to make that possibility of rotation a little bigger. You can see some of those possible tornadoes up here, and the wind damage. You got this T for tornado. In this thunderstorm warnings earlier, this whole area was damaging earlier from the storms, and we'll get more information if what the EF scale is, and we'll pass it on to you here at Live Weather Blog. Nothing huge in tropics. The remnant low here from Bonnie will kick in, and also giving moisture tomorrow. We have another upper level low out here, and then the upper level low is finally moving into Texas. And this area right here, gotta watch for developments very close to the Mexican coast. So it doesn't have a lot of time to do anything. And down here, we got some thunderstorm development. And there are a couple areas to watch over the next few days. And a quick look at your forecast here in the Roanoke Valley. 96 tomorrow, hot again. Then drop into the 80s, 88, 88, 91, and probably drop back down Thursday back into the 80s. So not an extreme heat wave. We have to watch tomorrow from 95 to 100 in temperatures. But after that, we look to finally get into a time that we get back to closer to normal temperatures. As for now, this is Dean D. Davidson, Live Weather Blogs Overnight Edition. And stay with us tomorrow for more information on the severe weather that may outbreak in the Northeast, the Mid-Atlantic, and the Roanoke Valley. This is Dean D. Davidson, LiveWeatherBlogs.com.